also changed her garment. What was the garment Ruth was wearing? Ruth was wearing a widow's garment. Ruth's story is a very sad one. She's living in a country called Moab. One day, a group comes to their hometown. They are from Bethlehem of Judea. The woman is called Naomi and is married, and they have 2 boys, 2 sons. For some reason, one of the boys falls in love with Ruth. And who doesn't like a foreigner? You know, it's like an American comes to Ghana, all the girls who want to marry the American. So who doesn't like a foreigner? So he marries into this family. And another girl also marries the other boy. So now Ruth is married into the family. The other girl who married into the family is called Orpah. And then there is Naomi with a husband. One day, Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, screams, "What is happening? My husband is dead." Ruth's father-in-law dies. Disaster has hit the family. As if that was not enough, the other boy dies. 2 deaths of 2 men in one family. And then it hits Ruth's husband. In a short time, father and 2 sons dead, leaving the women. If you were living in those days in Israel, that was not good, because we didn't have women's liberation at that time. If you were a woman and you didn't have a husband, your life was not very encouraging. So here is Ruth. She thought life was going to be great. She's fallen in love. She thought she had entered a family where she would be blessed. The family is in disaster. Her life is in disaster. Everybody around her is in disaster. So as happens, her mother-in-law changed her garment. Naomi changed, and she started wearing widow's garment. Ruth also wore widow's garment to advertise to everybody, everywhere you go, that's a widow. The other girl, Orpah, also wore widow's garment. One day, Naomi says, "I'm going back to my country. Life has not been good to me. I'm going back to Ghana." And so she sets out. And the 2 daughters-in-law who have lost their husbands say they will follow her. She says, "Listen, don't follow me. There's no hope for you. Where I'm going, there's no hope. My life is bitter. I'm very angry. Life is not good for me. If you follow me, your life will be miserable." And the other girl wisely said, "Yeah, I think that's good advice. So, Ma, thank you for giving me a dead husband. Go back to your country. Whatever you brought from your country to my country, go with it. I will stay here." Ruth somehow said, "I will go with you." And she utters some very profound words of loyalty. Wherever you go, I will go, and where you die, I will die. Now, many times we say that as a mark of loyalty, and it's good. It's good. In fact, in our wedding vows in our church, we say, "I'll go where you go," mimicking Ruth. But Ruth was not speaking in faith. Her last statement is, "Where you die, I will die." In other words, I know where you are going. Life will not be good to you. I know you are going to die in your country, and I'm going quietly with you, so we'll die together. She didn't expect any change in life. She knew that where they were, death has visited them. It has visited the men. It's going to start with the women. It will start with Naomi. And when it hits Naomi, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to die. So when Ruth starts moving, she didn't expect her life would change. So she's wearing her widow's garment. Death, isolation, suspicion. Because if the people of Bethlehem in the days of Ruth were like Ghanaians, and I think they were like Ghanaians, if you were a woman like Naomi or Ruth and you enter town, everybody will give you space. If you're a Ghanaian, they will say, these are the witches. They've chewed their husbands, and now they have come back here, and woe on you if you go and marry in this family. They will chew you up. They will say, do you know they chew up the first one, and then they chew the second one, and they chew the third one, and do you know they are here? Do you know where they live? Can you imagine if your son is going to marry one of them? The kind of family delegations who will come and make sure you never marry into that family because it's a bad luck family. So this is Ruth. The only way to have a living is to look like a widow, so people will pity her. Her whole life is dependent on people pitying her. So anytime she sees people, she has to pretend for them to pity her. It's like the beggars around town. They have nice stories and songs they sing. So they knock on your car door, go, and sing a nice, pitiful song. And when you don't respond, they go to the next person. Because that's the only way they can survive. They can't tell you, sir, I need 20 cedis. The beggar can't ask you, say, I need 20 cedis. He will beg and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg. If you don't mind him, he'll go to the next person and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg. That was Ruth's story. One day she goes to a farm. According to the law that God gave to Israel, God told the Jews when they made a farm and they harvested the farm, they should leave, when they are harvesting, they should have leftovers so that people who don't have, like Ruth, can come and collect the pieces. So Ruth goes from farm to farm to do that. One day she goes to a farm and she starts collecting the leftovers. She's out there in the field, and as she's collecting, wearing her widow's garment, black, dark, the boss of the farm, the most eligible bachelor in Bethlehem, he is rich, he is handsome, and all the girls like him. He comes to the farm and he sees that girl wearing black. He says, who is that lady collecting leftover on our farm? They say, well, it's that bad luck girl who came with a bad luck mother-in-law, and we didn't even want her to come to the farm today because she's bringing bad luck here. We don't know who will die after she leaves this farm, because everywhere they go, people die. The man, Boaz, says to the servants, make sure today, don't just leave small leftovers. Just leave bundles for her so she can collect. So Ruth is going around and she's picking bundles and bundles. I'm sure she's saying, well, today is a good day. You know, favor. And it's favor. She heaps up the bundles and she goes home. She has no clue what is about to change in her life, that she's about to step into a new relationship. And her mother-in-law says, how come you came too early? And how come you have so many bundles? He said, well, I went to a farm. He says, who is the owner of the farm? He said, well, there's a guy called Boaz. He says, Boaz? Yeah. He said, okay. Mother-in-law goes to make all her research, as mother-in-law know how to do. Does all the research, comes back and says, you know the trick? This Boaz, the reason why he left you bundles is because he likes you. because only mothers-in-law can interpret some language. It is coded signal. It's like when a young man goes to visit another lady with buns bread, and goes and says, "Oh, I was just passing here and I saw some buns bread, and I said, maybe you like buns bread. Maybe you don't even like, but I said, maybe you like buns bread," and you brought buns bread. Now the girl may take it like, "Wow, what is bread?" But if there is a mother-in-law, mature woman, you say, "This is not ordinary bread. Oh, this one is carrying a message." The man is sending you a signal. He's conveying a message to you. He's telling you, "My eyes are on you." So that is what Naomi says to Ruth. He says, the reason why Boaz left you all of that is because he's giving you a message. They are not just dropping wheat there by chance. This is a communication. This is high-level communication. And so he tells her, the man loves you. I'm sure Ruth is saying, "Me? Yeah, you. But the men around me die, but the man loves you. But my garment is that of a widow, but the man loves you. Your destiny is about to change. And when God calls you to a higher level, your garment must change." So he says to Ruth, wash yourself. Wash yourself off every image of widow. Cleanse yourself ritually from the stigma of your past and put on new clothes, bright clothes. The question is, where were the clothes? She had them. Why wasn't she wearing them? Because she was a widow. And those clothes were the clothes she used to wear when she was a nice girl. She was a beautiful girl. Now her condition has changed and she's wearing widow's clothes. But she goes back. She rolls back the time. She says, "I'm still a nice girl from Bethlehem. Moab didn't treat me well, but my time has come again, and Bethlehem is calling me again." So she baths, she changes her clothes, she perfumes herself, and she goes to meet Boaz. And the rest, as they say, is history. They married, they gave birth to Jesse, Jesse gave birth to David, and from that came the line of Jesus Christ, from a widow who changed her garment. What had happened? Like Joseph, a call came to him in prison. Like in Ruth, a call comes to her as a widow. And she decides, if God is calling me to a higher level, I cannot present myself in the same old way. I have to talk different. I have to think different. I have to dress different. I have to show myself different. The problem with most of you is God changes your destiny, but you present yourself in the same old way. God turns the situation around, but you talk in the same old way because your garment never changes. Some have the garment of poverty, they wear it all the time. Garment of fear, they wear it all the time. Garment of disappointment, they wear it all the time. Even when God is opening a door, they say, "Well, as for me, I don't trust anybody because people have disappointed me." That was your old garment. It's time to change your garment. Tell somebody next to you, change what you are wearing.